love Magic the Gathering, and there are so many fantastic Magic the Gathering cards. It's what keeps me addicted to this game in a variety of formats as is, but today we're going to focus on Commander more specifically and cards that we hate. And I feel like I'm going to go a little bit against the grain here, because I've seen a lot of people on Reddit and such getting really upset about the recent unban of Braids and such, but I don't think Braids is a problem. I understand that at the beginning of your turn, sacrificing isn't something that you necessarily want to do, but it's really not that obstructive by comparison to modern Commander format. Someone plays Braids, it's a creature, so it's pretty easy to remove, it gets blown up, maybe one or two people had to sacrifice a thing. If it's a Commander, now it's got Commander text on top of it. The only way this is a really big pain in the ass is if it gets out super early, like someone gets it out on turn 1. And that will happen, and it will not be fun, but overall I don't think it's that detrimental of a card to have in the format. Same thing with Gifts Ungiven. A lot of people are losing their mind because this is a very powerful tutor, but it's a tutor that reveals this crap to all of us, and then you're just going to get focused down 9 times out of 10. It's very good, don't get me wrong, but it's not toxic in my opinion. And I think that's where the biggest disconnect in Commander comes from, is so many people think things are toxic, but no one agrees what toxic is. So let me be very clear, this is a very opinionated video. You may hate the cards mentioned, you may think that they're not a problem at all. Before I start ranting about cards that I absolutely hate, I am going to lay down some ground rules, because I'm going to leave all mass land destruction cards off of this list. They're annoying, everyone hates them, don't play them, you're a bad person if you do. And things like Grand Arbiter that frustrate people en masse, you know, that's understandable. The stacks aren't really that fun. I too hate them, but I'm glad they're a creature and I can destroy it. Now, before I climb all the way up on this high horse to preach at you about cards that I hate and why I hate them, let me tell you about cards that I play that my playgroup hates. The first card on this list of things that I like to play but everybody else hates includes Deadpool. And this doesn't just refer to me out of the playgroup. Anyone who plays Deadpool has officially pissed off the entire table. I have not seen a single game where someone plays Deadpool and they don't get focused out as quickly as possible. I don't even play him as a commander, I just keep him around as one of my backup dancers for funny shenanigans, but that's still enough to piss everybody off. On a similar note, in one of my meme decks that's based around Infinity, I play Exchange Words, and this has a very similar effect, so it similarly pisses off absolutely everyone. Another card I enjoy playing that seems to piss everyone off is Reforge the Soul, and I understand discarding your entire hand really does suck, but you get a whole bunch of new cards, but typically this is interrupting someone else's synergy or the plan they had, and for full transparency, it's usually not the first cast of the card that gets people angry, it's the third or the fourth, and that's when people start to lose their minds. And lastly, on my honorable mention side of things, Magar of the Magic Strings is one of my favorite commanders of all time, but I know one person in my playgroup that specifically hates it every single time I play him, and he will focus me down if he can. I think this is because a couple of games where I was playing this commander against him, I got incredibly lucky and was able to pull off some shenanigans. How he has crystallized his hatred towards this commander in general, although I think he's just the bestest Minotaur boy. You're gonna notice a very clear trend here because I absolutely hate enchantments. I do not like the amount of mana value that you get for such a low mana investment. They sit there on the board just laughing at you as you struggle to remove them, and most people who play them play more than one. We'll start off on number 3, which is a card that I hate with every fiber of my being, but is far from the worst of my hatred, which is Propaganda. For the low cost of 3 mana, you've made it so nobody wants to attack you. You've essentially goaded everyone to attack everyone else, or especially in the early turns, we can use some of our very limited mana resources to either try to remove this piece of garbage enchantment, or we can pay your stupid tax in order to throw, what, maybe 1 or 2 creatures at you? You know as well as I do that no one's going to pay that tax, and most people are not going to waste their actual removal on your stupid propaganda. They're just going to continue to set up their own board, so you're going to sit there on a little island this entire time. Ristic Study makes it so you draw a whole bunch of cards, but it doesn't piss me off because while I have the option to pay so you don't have to, I can still punch you in the face even if you have a mountain of cards. I know I'm going to be in the minority here because I am more pissed off by Propaganda than I ever would be by Ristic, and everybody freaking hates Ristic. But denying my ability to make contact with a player is one of the most frustrating things that I can ever go through as a Magic player. I really like to have my freedom of who I'm going to punch in the face. I'm not sure if you're watching from my playgroup, but this is definitely directed at you. Take this out of your decks, I hate you. I'm just kidding, play how you want to play, but God, is it frustrating. The next card on my list is one that is almost equally as frustrating, but a lot more punishing because someone else is going to cause the problem. And that little doozy is Grave Pact. Now, Grave Pact can be considered similar to a Propaganda, but in black, because black is always going to have something that they're more than willing to sacrifice. Sometimes they're just going to actually do that on their turn, so you have to lose some more creatures. But during every other player's turn, it's going to become a Cold War. Who do I want to attack? Well, I'm probably not going to attack the controller of Grave Pact, because one way or the other, I'm going to lose something there, so I'm I'm gonna go ahead and punch someone else in the face. A couple turns of this and people whittling each other away means that whoever controls this card has essentially won the game already, unless this enchantment is removed or someone's playing essentially without creatures. Maybe you're playing a token deck and you just have so many creatures that you do not care about sacrificing them, and if that is the case, good on ya, I love your ideas. Finally, the card that pisses me off the most is one that's seeing increasing utilization inside of commander decks as well as in standard, which bothers me to no end, which is Authority of Consuls. This card is the epitome of absolutely everything I hate. It's like Imposing Sovereign and as well as Soul Warden had a baby, except this time it's an enchantment and it costs 1 mana for some reason. It doesn't just heal you, it makes it so everybody else's creatures come in tapped, meaning that if someone's trying to get some blockers in the board, well, too bad, they're tapped and they can't do anything. Did you have something that was nice with haste? Were you about to do a cool play? Get wrecked, kid. It had to be in white. 1 mana in white to absolutely shut down your opponent, especially if they're playing a quicker deck, and then on top of that, you're getting life gain out of it. And we know white has no shortage of life gain pieces that do something more if your life is increased. Not only do I hate this card because it makes all of my stuff come in tapped that needs to be attacking or blocking because that's why I run creatures in the first place. Not only do I hate that it costs only 1 mana and gives you life when other people play their creatures, but what bothers me the most is it's never going to be a white anti-aggression tool like it first seems at first glance. No, because every single time that white gets an anti-aggression tool, the first people to use it, always the freaking Boros decks, because you can't just have anti-aggression. No, you need to make it so no one can defend themselves from your red rushdown tactics. It's SM Orc to the next level. Nobody gets to defend against you, you just pummel them in the face. Red by itself is surprisingly tolerable. You're just going to try to outlast their Zerg Rush and see if you can't come out on the other side. If you do, typically you're just going to win. White is by itself is perfectly fine. They get a lot of health, but they don't really do much else. You put those two together with a tool like this, they become the most frustrating unit on the planet. And Boros has no shortage of cards that royally rub me the wrong way, but this one is the epitome of a card that you look at. It's not Boros by nature. It's not a red and a white. This thing can slot into more than just a Boros deck, but everything that it stands for frustrates me. It just feels like power creep because I've been given a hard time about playing a singular Soul Warden inside of a commander game, and this thing comes out of nowhere and is Soul Warden Plus. But that's just my perspective. I know there's a whole bunch of enchantments that work very similar to the other ones that are listed on this list. That was a bad sentence and I'm aware of it. However, these are just the ones that came to mind when I was thinking about cards that I absolutely loathe. And I also understand a lot of people are probably huge fans of these cards and they love slowing the game down in this way, but I really hate enchantments like this. I would love for you to subscribe and also tell me about your most hated cards in the comments below. Maybe you think that my list is stupid and there are enchantments out there that are way worse than the ones that I put on this list, but please let me know. Anyways, this has been Sand for Days. I'm Course and I get everywhere. Bye bye now.